Our next presenter is Greg Howard. Greg is a novelist and fiction writer. His first novel, Hospice, will be released in April. He teaches creative writing, contemporary literature, and film at the University of Maine. He also is the next door neighbor to one of our organizers, Annie Collins. Please welcome Greg.
So, I am a novelist, and the novel project I'm working on now takes place in Brazil in the 1970s under the military dictatorship, and in West Germany also in the 1970s, both terrorized by and in thrall of the urban guerrilla group, the Baader Meinhof. And I'm interested in both of these times and places because I'm interested in the utopian desire and the violence that often comes with it. Brazil is no stranger to utopian gestures. In the early part of last century, Henry Ford founded what he called Fordlandia in the jungles of Brazil, because as he was strip mining the rubber trees for rubber to build his tires for his cars, he thought, why don't we build a good old American culture right here in the heart of the jungle? You can see it's working very well for the Americans that came from America to Fordlandia to live. So the natives that Ford employed to help build Fordlandia quickly deserted the colony, and afterwards the Americans who tried to live there but found they did not know how to live in the jungle often went back to America, and Fordlandia is still in ruins. 40 years afterwards, Brazil founds Brasilia, a modernist paradise in the north central plains, replacing Rio de Janeiro as the capital. You can see it's beautiful, it's pristine, it's unlike anything. It's supposed to be a utopic space. The natives and poor northeastern workers who helped build that couldn't afford to live there. They live in shanty towns that ring the place. About 4 years after it's founded, the military dictatorship stages a coup and takes control of Brazil. And 10 years after that, they begin to crack down on journalists, broadcasters. They begin a campaign of torture of all dissidents. This is the work of the Brazilian artist Silvio Moraes, who responded to this at the time by creating installations that were both powerful and abstract. This is called Cathedral. There's bones up top, there's money at the bottom. Okay? I'm very inspired by him and by his creation of immersive spaces that invite and disrupt us. So as part of my interest in this and trying to create something around this material, I've taken inspiration from him. So what I'm going to do is read a little bit from what I'm working on while some of his work plays in the background, and then I'm going to come back. So this is from the West German part of the photo of her circulates somehow. There's a man on the inside, a comrade, who makes a copy of a copy, a copy of a copy of a copy, and so on, and it comes to them like it always comes, and they look at it in fascination and in horror. Her face folded into wallets and carried like money's sacred wish on coffee tables in kitchens, the dashboard of a car. You can see her, head to the side, mouth open, eyes open, temple and forehead webbed with blood. She is so beautiful. The police photographer who took the picture felt it too, this beauty. What was it? This tenderness, yes, something like that, a desire to suddenly arrange her hair, to touch her cheek. And of course this was crazy, but to tell her, no, it would all be all right. She was still so delicate, her mouth, her eyes, her skin. But there was something else. What was it in this too, this desire? It was this compulsion, all right, this compulsion to kiss her. Her mouth was wide open, her eyes, her skin. It looked as if she was startled, caught off guard, but the report said that she turned to face the pursuing officers with a gun she had turned and fired. She said, "Fuck you, pig." Nevertheless, here she is, startled by death. They will kill us all, Kurt says. That much is obvious. The newspaper reports Petra Schaum, age 20, killed in a firefight after running a police roadblock. But even when it's most expected, courted, still, it's the fundamental surprise, death. One by one, like rats, like vermin, he's pacing her. The idea is electric in his legs, his hands, the wait is over, Andreas thinks suddenly. But she might be laughing too, laughing at it all. Hair was her job, arrangement of it, framing it, making the face beautiful or sensible. The head is salutation. Blood webs one side of her face like a mask. It's like Meinhof said, Kurt continues. This is the Auschwitz generation. You can't reason with them. So we just saw the pictures of Petra Schoen, who was killed by police officers after running a roadblock. Prior to this, the Bader Meinhof killed a police officer. And this is violence begets violence. So one of the things I'm thinking about is what's my relationship to violence? Why am I interested in this? You can see here Richter, he painted paintings of the Bader Meinhof group after they killed themselves in prison. And one of his strategies is to blur everything out. So how do you bring us close? How do you keep us distance? How am I thinking of doing that? The last images, the last inspiration are images from another artist, a Finnish installation artist, who creates video installations on all three sides of a room that run out of sync. And her work is often about people who feel alienated from their environment. And I'm interested in how her work starts with noise and confusion. Things are out of sync. There's a lot of voices happening at once. But slowly and surely, her protagonists, who are often female, move towards a space of silence and of quiet. And as I'm working on this project, I'm working with space and times of convulsive violence that seem to me, because I'm interested in them, I feel like, okay, it must be speaking to where we are now. I'm also interested in how we move through convulsive violence to a kind of interior peace.